Welcome to All Things Food. I'm John Woods. Today we're talking one of my favorites and yours, the good old-fashioned smash burger. I'm going to show you the bad things that we do and the good things that we should do. Let's go ahead and dive in. And I'm going to heat up my skillet here. I'm going to take my buttered buns. I'm going to toast those real quick. And that leads me to the first point, or the first mistake that we make, is we don't do the proper mise en place. You cannot have a good smash burger unless you have everything ready. You know the word mise en place. It's a French term that means everything in its place, and that means absolutely everything, from A to Z, the alpha, the omega, everything from your skillet, your buns, your condiments, your sauces, everything needs to be in its proper place. Part of our mise en place, of course, is getting our lettuce and our tomatoes and our pickles and our cheese ready. This thing happens so quickly, we have to have everything ready if we want our smash burger to be the very best that it can possibly be. Part of my condiments, I love caramelized onions, and I'll tell you a little secret. When you caramelize your onions, you cook them down, take a little bit of Marsala cooking wine or some kind of a cooking wine and put a little dab in it. It'll really elevate the flavor of those onions. You'll be glad that you did it. I dried off this pickle, and I'm going to chop it up very, very fine. And this is going to make a very fabulous sauce. Couple simple ingredients. I'll put it in the description box below. But you're going to love this sauce. It's so simple to make. The next thing we're going to do with this sauce is we're going to get a grater and find the finest grate on it. Take an onion and we're going to grate it. And we get about 2 or 3 tablespoons. After you get your pickles and onions ready, get you a little strainer and try to strain off as much of the moisture as you can. And you're going to be well on your way to making a great sauce. What we're going to do now, let's go ahead and start mixing things up here a little bit. I'll put in about a tablespoon of the grated onion. Give me a good tablespoon or so, maybe a little more of the pickle. Come over here and get about 4 or 5 tablespoons of our mayonnaise. And just do this to taste. There's really no secret recipe. Your likes and mine are going to be different. So just go ahead and adjust it according to your taste. I'm going to put a good heaping spoon of Dijon mustard in there and a little cayenne pepper just for a little kick. Here's something I found very helpful when I make a smash burger is I try to pre-dress my burger so when that burger comes hot off the grill with that melted gooey cheese, I can put it right on the burger, hand it to my guest, and they're going to be getting the very best maximum taste smash burger they could possibly get. So we're going to take our special little sauce over here. I'm going to put some on the bottom of it, like so. And I like a little extra, so I'm going to put some on top. Then I'm going to begin to dress my burger with a little bit of really finely shredded lettuce right there on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and put my tomato, which is a very finely sliced tomato you can see right there. Put that on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my pickle to it. You can dress it any way you want to. If you want to put ketchup, whatever. And let's don't forget those beautiful caramelized onions. I tell you, that's the best part. And I have a hard time not eating these things as I cook them. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? One condiment that I forgot to tell you about, it's really a season more than a condiment, and I like to do this, is to take a little bit of Kikkoman soy sauce and a little bit of liquid smoke and mix those together. And a little later on, I'm going to season my burger very lightly with this. The second problem's not at the grill, it's not in the kitchen, but surprisingly, it starts in the grocery store. What do I mean by that? Well, we go to the grocery store to buy our meat, and we don't know exactly what to buy. So we'll either buy a cheap meat or we'll buy a meat that's got it's way too lean and not enough fat. My preference is to get an 80-20 ground chuck. It means 80% meat, 20% fat. Mistake number 3 is we pre-season the meat. When I cook a big burger, like a big hamburger, I like to pre-season it so that seasoning can permeate into the meat and meld into it. But when you do a smash burger, you want to do just the opposite. You don't want to pre-season the meat. You don't want to put this seasoning into the meat because it'll over-season the meat. So save the seasoning to put on the outside of the burger while you're cooking it. That's a very important thing. Alrighty, moving right along here. Mistake number 4 is, again, another simple fix, is the incorrect portioning of the meat. These aren't Big Macs. These aren't quarter pounders. These aren't a Texas-sized burger. Smash burgers are designed to be very thin. They're big in diameter, but they need to be very thin. You don't want them very large, or it's not going to make a good smash burger. Now, I've got some secrets for getting the right portion on your smash burger. find you a little bit of ice cream scoop like this. And if you pack it in, don't pack it in there, just put it in there loosely. You'll find that almost every time it'll come out right at 3 ounces, give or take. Now these aren't meatballs, so don't get the idea that it's a meatball like spaghetti meatballs or barbecue meatballs. When you don't want to have this very compacted. I like wearing gloves. It helps keep some of the heat from my hands leaching out some of the fat in the meat. I'll take that ball of meat and I'll throw it back and forth in my hand like this. I'm not packing it. I'm just trying to get some of the air that's down inside there out of it. Point number 5, don't overhandle the meat. And then the next point is this. Always keep this meat cold as possible until you're ready to cook it. So I'll put this back in the refrigerator and leave it in there until the very last minute before I put it out on the griddle or put it in the skillet. That is a critical point. All these things that we've talked about so far happen in the kitchen before we ever get to the griddle. We're going to jump ahead a little bit and we're going to do something that we normally do out on the griddle, but I'm going to show you a little trick that I found makes my smash burger cooking a lot easier and a lot more fun. And I like to pre-smash my smash burgers. Oh, you say that's horrible, that's heretical, but I tell you, it really, really works. Get you some parchment paper, get you a little spray and put on it. What we're going to do is take our little ball of meat, and it's nice and chilled, and I'm going to put it between those 2 pieces of parchment paper. I'll press it down a little bit. I'm going to take a spatula, and I'm going to just take my hand and move it, rock and roll it around. It's not just a downward smash, you've got to rock it and roll it. We want this thing to be uniform all the way around. And that really makes a great, great way to do this. Rather than getting that on the griddle and trying to force it down like this, it'll really expedite the cooking process and you'll be able to cook a lot more smash burgers successfully at one time if you pre-smash the burger. I like it because 1, it doesn't smash out a lot of the moisture and it gives me a nice juicy interior finish when I cook it. They're all smashed. What do we do with them? Very important, don't make this mistake. Get it back in the refrigerator. Keep it cold until the very last minute. These won't come out of the refrigerator until I'm ready to stick them on the griddle or in the skillet. If I was cooking these inside, I'd use a heavy cast iron skillet such as this, or I'd use my stainless steel skillet such as this. But it's such a pretty day outside, and we're going to go outside and we're going to cook some really, really great smash burgers. So let's go. Alrighty, the excitement's here. We're out on the griddle, and the first thing we want to do that's so important is you want to bring this up to the proper temperature. The temperature I like to use for cooking a smash burger, it's not a low temperature around 350. Try to get your griddle or grill up to about 400 to 450 degrees. The second thing, once it comes up to temperature, make certain it's good and seasoned, good and clean. Got a good clean surface there. Everything's ready to go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of my beef tallow and put on here just to help give my smash burger a little boost when it goes onto the griddle to give it that beautiful Maillard reaction. Also, if you're using a griddle like I'm using, make sure that you have plenty of fuel because you don't want this to run out of fuel right in the middle of the cooking process. I think we're ready to start cooking a burger. Put that right on the griddle. What I like to do after I get it on the griddle is hold it down for about 10 seconds. That helps really develop a good crust on it. We're going to let this cook about 90 seconds on each side. It's important that we don't keep smashing it because we'll smash the juices out. Just let it cook exactly like this on each side for about 90 seconds. It takes about 2.5 minutes to really cook this thing properly where it's not undercooked and it's not overcooked. While it's cooking on this side, remember I told you about the little secret I like to use to give it that umami taste? I'll go ahead and brush a little bit of that on this side just to let some of that flavor get into that meat. You're really going to like that little trick. Another error that we make is we get the burger meat too close together. See how I have all this good spacing here? If you put it too close together, all your patties, what you're going to do is you're going to produce steam, and it's going to inhibit the burger from developing a really, really good crust. Another mistake we make is wanting to flip the burgers too much. People get into a habit of trying to push this spatula under the burger and messing with it. If you do that, you're going to tear the meat. So just once you put it on there, leave it alone. Trust me, for 90 seconds, it's not going to hurt anything. So don't constantly flip the burger. You want to leave it stationary, one side cook and then the other. So I'm going to take my very thin spatula. I'm going to take one spatula and hold it, and I'm going to get right under the burger like that. It wasn't. And look at that gorgeous crust right there. This isn't going to take very long. Time to go ahead and put that cheese on there. Now, I like using American cheese. It really melts well. I found it's one of the best to do. So I'm going to put this is jalapeno cheese today. Put that right on there. And folks, we're close. We're very close to having a sensational smash burger. I'm so excited. This is the moment of truth. It's time to pull these off the griddle. And the good thing is we've done our mise en place. Everything's ready. So as soon as we pull this off of here, I tell you, we're ready to eat a really great smash burger. Look at that. Doesn't that make you happy? Thanks for watching today. Be sure to like the channel. That really helps us. Subscribe if you haven't. And stay tuned for other great videos like this. Tell me what you learned today. And I'll tell you what, remember this week as you go out, not only remember love to cook, but cook to love. You can cook these any time of the year, summer, spring, fall. They're good all the time.